We are here today because one of you is guilty of murder. One of you planned a murder so clever you almost got away with it. But you didn't take into account this intrepid detective and his excellent gray brain matter. This was a complicated case, with many twists and turns, and even a few red herrings. Each of you wanted Robert dead. Let's start at the beginning. Robert didn't know when he came in to work that day that he was going to have the worst day of his life. He started his day in a typical meeting with his senior librarian, Mildred Featherbottom. And when she brought up retirement again, even bringing a copy of a retirement packet, he lost his temper and yelled at her. "I'll die before I retire and let you have this job." But what's interesting is what Mildred said next. Accidents happen all the time. We know this because Basil was upstairs lurking nearby. Only a few minutes later, Robert fell down the stairs, and from his journal, we know he believed he was pushed, but only saw Snape. Here we have to look and see what happened after the fall. Trixie, Kitty, and Basil all rushed over to Robert. If they were downstairs immediately after the fall, they could not have pushed him, which leaves us with only two suspects, Thursday and Mildred. But according to Thursday, she was outside feeding the crows on her break, alone. No one saw Mildred downstairs after Robert fell, and Thursday didn't see her outside. And when I went upstairs to take a look at the scene, I noticed an unusual spider brooch. One very similar to the one you're wearing now, Mildred. It's the brooch you went looking for later but couldn't find, because it fell off when you pushed Robert down the stairs. Yes, Mildred pushed Robert down the stairs and remained hidden upstairs for some time so no one would suspect. If only you had found that brooch, I might not have figured it out.
I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids!
But the fall did not kill Robert. And not long after his fall, another attempt was made. But Mildred did not make this attempt. No, someone else tried to kill Robert with the book cart. After his recovery from the fall, Robert tried to go about his normal daily tasks. At 11:30, he went to restock the snack table he leaves out for his staff. I learned from his journal entry that he wasn't alone while performing this task. Trixie was hanging around nearby with pure hatred in her eyes, quote unquote, he wrote. She admits to disliking Robert, and Mildred saw her throwing York peppermint patties at the wall, screaming, "I'll get you for this, Robert!" The book cart incident happened just moments after he restocked the peppermint patties on the snack table. Everyone claimed to be working alone at their desks, but Trixie and Mildred share an office, so one of them must be lying. Trixie was seen by Robert moments before, and as you can see from the photos, all the books on the cart were children's books. Only Trixie would have a cart full of children's books. She pushed the cart.
Hey, I did do it! And I do it again. He deserved it.
Trixie snapped and couldn't take the mint chocolate anymore. But did she try to finish the job? The remainder of Robert's workday was somewhat uneventful. He wasn't seen much after the morning's incidents. He left the library for a lunch meeting and returned to immediately close his door for a conference call. After that, there were only a few sightings of Robert. Basil saw him around 4 o'clock and gave him a water. Around 4:30, Kitty overhears an altercation between Trixie and Robert when Trixie throws peppermint patties at him. And then later she sees Robert at the elevator. Thursday claims she didn't see him at 5:15 when she took the photo of his desk. And since the note we later found in his hand was in her 5:15 picture, We can assume he had not yet returned to his office. But he did return to his office. He found the note and went to the fireplace to meet someone. But who left the note? It could have been Thursday. She was in his office, and she could have put the note there before taking the picture. She admits to sneaking into his office on previous occasions, looking at personnel files, and Robert wrote in his journal that the morning of his death, he woke to her crow smothering him. But no, it wasn't Thursday. It was Kitty who left that note. She claimed to be upstairs looking for Kleenex, but you can plainly see from her desk photos she had 2 unopened boxes at 3:30 that day. And after the murder, she still had 2 unopened boxes. She was not upstairs to get more Kleenex. She was there waiting to plant the note that would make Robert go to the fireplace. The feathers from her boa were found on this desk and at the crime scene. It was Kitty that Mildred heard re-enter the building. It was Kitty that crept over to Robert, kindness rock in hand, and hit him over the head, knocking him to the floor. It was Kitty who left the kindness rock and peppermint patties to implicate Trixie. It was Kitty who left the books from Mildred's desk and who dropped her cigarette by mistake. It was Kitty who was seeking vengeance from a year-long revenge plot. A year ago, October 19, it was Kitty who Robert almost hit with his car, forcing her to drop her ice cream. It was Kitty who tried to get Robert arrested, but when the police wouldn't help, she took matters into her own hands.
It was me. I did it. I did all of those things.
But the time-lapse footage tells us something more. Kitty hit Robert at 5:47 p.m. You can see Robert fall, but according to the coroner's report, that is not what killed him. Robert died no earlier than 6 p.m. But who was there? Who finally finished the job? It couldn't be Mildred because she was already at her roller derby practice. Yet it is Mildred's team that Kitty saw rob the bank. And Kitty recognized Mildred because of her part in the heist. I suspect that's why Kitty placed Mildred's books at the crime scene. It couldn't be Trixie. She was the first to leave and was home at 6. Basil too went straight home. We know Kitty was later getting home, but she left thinking she had killed Robert. So, what about Thursday? She said she left with everyone else, but we know she likes to feed the crows. And she is at the center of another case, the disappearance of her husband.
I didn't do it, but I wish I did.
But it wasn't her. In fact, no one was here when Robert died. The murderer was too cunning for that. Poor Robert figured it out. Too late, it seems. Before he went downstairs to the fireplace, Robert realized he wasn't stiff from the fall or the book card like he mentioned to Kitty. No, Robert realized he was stiff because he had been poisoned. Robert tried to make his way to get help, but everyone was gone. He was losing his ability to speak and move. He finally made his way to the fireplace, hoping that whoever wanted to meet him could get him help. He couldn't even cry out when Kitty hit him over the head. But Robert figured it out. He knew something was wrong and left us a coded note to solve his murder. In his journal entry, he underlined bits of an entry. Start with P, not A. The key to the code. So I wrote out the alphabet starting with P and wrote the alphabet starting with A beneath it, translating the message to the bottle was already open. Robert realized too late that his 4 o'clock water bottle did not have the satisfying click when he opened it. It had already been opened and poisoned. It was the water that first tasted off to Robert. And later, when he ate the peppermint patty that Trixie had thrown at him, he agreed that it didn't taste good, that nothing had tasted good since lunch. He blamed the garlic, but it was in fact the poisoned water that made everything taste bad. Hemlock will do that, won't it, Basil? Yes, it was Basil who poisoned Robert. Basil had enough of being treated like hired help. He was tired of being Robert's servant, always bringing him water and doing his bidding. Basil knows his way around plants, knows that hemlock takes 2 to 3 hours to kill someone. Your last employer died of hemlock poisoning. It was ruled a tragic mistake, but I suspect you killed her too. But Basil had been waiting, lurking for days to find the right opportunity. And October 19th was the perfect day. After the fall down the stairs and the book cart incident, he knew Robert would ignore the stiffness that hemlock causes. He would assume it was from the fall. And Basil knew that if Robert drank the poison at 4 p.m., he would be safely away from Robert when it finally killed him. I began to suspect when the desk picture showed the poisonous plant book was missing after Robert's murder. But I also noticed the plant missing from his trash can. It was the hemlock he used to poison Robert. No one ever cleans here, so I've been told, and the rest of the trash was still there. Just the plant Basil was trying to cover his tracks.
Of course I did it. I'm the butler, and the butler always does it.
So I give you the murderer, Basil Butler. The butler always does it. Arrest him! In fact, arrest all of them. They all tried to kill him. Well, except Thursday. She actually didn't do it.
I told you I didn't do it. This time.
Arrest him!